Hi guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Iza Azwar Rosli. I18203220 would like to present with you Chapter 8, Securing Information System in Management Information System. Okay. I would like to discuss with you Chapter 8, Subtopic 8.3. is what are the components of an organizational framework for security and control. Okay. Even with the best security that we have, our information systems won't reliable and secure unless we know how and where to deploy them. So that's why we need to know what are the components of an organizational framework for security and control to protect our business or our company from risk. So, let's discuss this subtopic together. First thing first is information system control. In information system control, an organizational framework for security and control consists of many components. By addressing all the components, a company can maintain successfully security and control, such as general controls. Okay. I will explain with you guys what if general control is. General control is what detect the design, security and operation of computer programs, and they also detect the security of company-wide data files throughout the whole IT infrastructure. There are many types in general controls. First is what we call software controls. Monitor based on this table. Okay, software control is monitored the use of system software and prevent unauthorized access and use of software programs, system software and computer programs. Okay. What we understand in these software controls make sure that system software is being used properly and that the proper people are accessing software on company computer. Okay. Next is hardware controls. Hardware controls ensure that computer hardware is physically secure. For equipment malfunction, organizations that are critical dependent on their computers also must make provisions for backup or continue operation to maintain constant service. Okay. Hardware controls make sure that the computer is protected in a physical manner. They also make sure that the equipment is backed up and maintained for optimal performance. Okay, next is computer operation controls. Okay. Computer operation controls it makes sure that program procedures are correctly applied to company. While data security controls, they make sure that important company data files are protected from unauthorized access, change or destruction while they are in the company system. And lastly is implement controls. Implement controls, they perform audits on the company systems development process. And lastly is administrative control. Administrative control, they establish rules and procedures to make sure that all controls correctly performed and enforced. Okay, in information systems control also have application controls. Okay, what is application controls? Application controls include both automated and manual procedures that ensure that only authorized data are completely and accurately processed by that applications. Okay. In application controls can be classified as a first input controls. Input controls check data for accuracy and completeness when they enter the systems. There are specific input authorization, data conversion, data editing and error handling. Next is processing controls. Processing controls establish that data are complete and accurate during the updating. Run controls total computer matching and program edit checks are used as processing control. Okay. Next, in application controls, they have output controls. Output controls ensure that the results of computer processing are accurate, complete, and properly distributed. Okay, based on this table, it provides more detailed examples of each type application control, but not all the application control discussed here are used in every information system. Some systems require more of these controls than others, depending on the importance of data and the nature of the application. Okay. Next, in the subtopic, we will discuss risk assessment. Okay. Risk assessment. Okay. First, risk assessment determines the level of risk to the firm if a specific activity or process is not controlled. Second, it helps determine which assets are vulnerable. And lastly, it helps determine the most cost-effective set of controls for protecting assets. Okay. Also, based on table 8.5, it illustrates sample result of a risk assessment for online order processing system that process 30,000 orders per day. This risk assessment shows that the probability of a power failure in a 1-year period is 30%. So, in this case, controls should focus on way to minimize the risk of power failures and users errors because of anticipated annual losses are highest for these areas. Okay. Next, third point in this subtopic is security policy. What is security policy actually? Okay. What I understand and what I want to share with you guys, security policy consists of statement ranking info risk, identifying acceptable security goals, and identifying the mechanism for achieving these goals. There have a few points in this security policy. First is acceptable use policy or AUP. It defines acceptable use of the firm's information resources and computing equipment, including desktop and laptop computers, wireless devices, cell phones, and the internet. This AUP, this is a good one, defines unacceptable and acceptable actions for every user and specifies consequences for non-compliance. Second, in security policy is identify management. Okay. Identify management consists of business processes and software tools for identifying the valid users of a system and controlling their access to system resources. It also includes policies for identifying and authorizing different categories of systems or portions of systems each user is allowed to access, and the processes and technologies for authenticating users and protecting their identities. Okay. Security policy, based on figure 8.3, it is the example of how an identify management system might capture the access rules for different levels of users in human resource functions. Last but not least in this subtopic is disaster recovery planning and business continuity planning. First, we will look what is disaster recovery planning. Actually, disaster recovery planning is a device plans for the restoration of disrupted computing and communications service. And it also focuses primarily on the technical issues involved in keeping system up and running, such as which files to backup and the maintenance of backup computer system or disaster recovery service. Okay. While business continuity planning is a focus on how the company can restore business operations after a disaster strikes. Okay. Business continuity planning also identifies critical business processes and determines actions plans for handling mission critical function if systems go down. Last point, this is the real last point, okay, is the role of auditing. In this point, the role of auditing or information system audit, it examining the firm's overall security environment as well as controls governing individual information systems. They should trace the flow of sample transactions through the system and perform tests using, if appropriate, automated audit software. They may also examine data quality. Okay. That's all for today. Thank you. I hope you enjoy and understand. Bye. Assalamualaikum.